We are recording, and I'm pulling up my notes so I don't lose my way. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. And welcome back. It's been a little bit since I streamed anything whatsoever, other than this past Saturday. I think it was probably a full week. No, I take that back. Saturday and then like the prior Monday. I don't know. It things the timeline and the streaming density has gone down a little bit. It is what it is. I am Omar Krieg, your Lord and Commander of the Krieg Dominion, and the host for tonight's events, the storyteller or game master for this, Second Star, a Traveler 2300 Role-Playing Experience Season 2, Episode 3, entitled Audience. With me, of course, are my eccentric and not always fully dressed behind the camera players portraying their characters. So let's hear what they have to say this week for their intros and whatever else new and exciting is going on in their world. And while they're doing that, I'm going to fiddle around on my phone because that's what I do to kill time. Charles, my friend, how are you? And what's new and exciting for you?
I am on the rebound. I was on vacation weekend before Labor Day weekend, and then caught the COVID on the way home.
Oh, you didn't get just the
Yeah,
traveler's crowd. You got the COVID.
yep, I got the COVID. Yep, and it. I mean, it felt like just like a bad sinus infection for me. So I thought, oh, hey, I've come from the high desert and went down to Reno for work and funness, and then as I come back to the wet, and I thought, oh, look, seasonal change. My
Yeah.
sinuses decide to be jerks and do sinus stuff, but no.
No, they really ramped it up on you, huh?
Yep. So anyhow, I'm on the rebound for that. So I've been doing the home isolation thing for like the last week, which is horrid. Just because although I can work from home for my job, I hate working from home because I have a little tiny laptop and a little tiny screen, and I'm used to like three big monitors to do what I need to do. And
I really thought you were about to say I have a little tiny child running around, or maybe several of them that
oh
can
no,
get in the
no, no,
way.
no, no. That they're going to school. They've been going to school since Labor Day weekend. Since the Friday before Labor Day weekend,
Okay.
is which was weird because it's like we go to school for a day, then we go for a 3-day weekend, then we're
Oh my
back at
God.
school.
Yeah, on that note, my son hasn't even started school yet. He's gonna do an open house thing tomorrow, I believe is the plan. And then I think he has
Yeah,
one day, and it probably even is a half day now that I think about it, tomorrow. And then of course he has Saturday and Sunday off, and then and then he starts next week. And I'm like, at least start maybe like in the middle of the week and not on the last day of the week when absolutely nobody gives a S. I'm waiting for that 7 minute timer to go by. Yeah, why start on a
yep,
Friday when nobody cares? Child, teacher, faculty,
yep,
staff, nobody cares.
yep. Yeah, I mean, like minimum was like, "Hi, my name is. We don't care. Hey, welcome to.
Yeah.
We don't care. Uh, And you're here for. We don't care. As soon as the bell.
Yep. Yeah, just get me through this day. I got video games to play, and I want to pretend I still have a summer left.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, the worst part about it though is I mean, for all those that have caught it, it's just the whole isolation thing. Hang on, and now I mean, getting tested, taking the drugs, and all the other fun stuff like that. It's just after a while, you're like, dude, even though I can go walk the block, I don't really want to,
Yeah.
and I'm just like curled up and just doing what I need to for work, and then going right back to bed. So yeah, that's me. And then I play, since we haven't talked for a while, I play Hellwig, the
Yeah.
airman security officer who's now unemployed. So I don't know
Who
what I'm gonna do.
also is pretending to be a little on the loopy
Absolutely.
side and kind of
Yep.
jerk to everybody that's not a part of his little inner circle, I think.
Yeah. Well, and he may or may not be having experiencing PTSD from the fact that spaceship almost crashed into a space station.
Well, no, it almost
So
crashed into a whole ass planet.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh man, fun time. We'll cover some of that in the recap here. I do want to say and I don't know if I don't mean to float my boat or toot my horn or anything like that, but I do know, at least insofar as finding a way to relate with others who have endured COVID, I got really, really lucky when I caught it earlier this year. And for me, I think after about 3 days, other than just a generic, I don't feel 100%, but I'm not like less than 80% kind of feeling. I don't think it really hit me that hard. Now I did indeed test positive on a home test for it. That line was particularly faint. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, but also I'm also the guy that's like, you're gonna sequester me? Please let me isolate. I don't like people. I don't want to
yeah,
go out. I
yeah.
want to play on my
Well, I mean,
computer.
and the funny thing is like, I'm ex-military, and our medics, right, the corpsmen, used to
Yeah,
say hydrate, hydrate, hydrate,
yeah,
right. I mean, I had a friend of mine who was like, the minute you start feeling a tickle in your nose, you start drinking to the point where if you're not doing the happy dance every 30 minutes, then you're not hydrating enough. So that's what I started doing.
yeah.
So I really think that kind of helped push a lot of that stuff through me
Yeah, oh yeah.
faster.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
Hydration, if for nothing else, it gives your body plenty of water to work with. And then of course, and I'm not a doctor, so I may
Yeah.
misspeak certain things here, but I know the very first thing your body does when there's an infection is it's either gonna start amping up the production of white blood cells or increase the internal body temperature, which typically, like on a molecular level, actually starts to physically break down the molecules
Yep.
that comprise these viruses. So that it literally starts baking them.
Yep.
And if you're giving your body plenty of water to do that, it's maintaining that efficiency of what your body's supposed to be doing. So it just, at the end of the day, drinking plenty of water is always a beneficial thing, no matter what you're doing.
Exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. For those that want to argue with me about, well, drinking water is not the only thing. No, it's not. There's plenty of other nutrients in your body you got to maintain, but water
Yep.
is among the most important. And obviously,
Yeah.
drinking too much water is dangerous. But anyway,
Yep. Anyhow, so that's been my experiences the last day, week since we last got together, and yeah,
it was
and like I
two
said,
weeks and 84 years ago that we were
yeah,
last.
yeah,
I just had to. I'm
four
sorry.
score and
Yeah. Let's check in with Wiggles. Agent Wiggles, what's new and exciting in your world, and what have you been up to since we last saw each other? And maybe just a brief rundown on former Commander Wyatt.
Um, what have I been doing?
I was totally waiting for something like chicken nuggets to come out of your mouth.
The Labor Day weekend was fine. Nothing really happened at the house. It's just been warm. Been warm. I don't know. I guess another. I kind of lost track of this week. I totally forgot tomorrow is Thursday, so I haven't done any prep for my Thursday game, and that I might to the point where I might consider pushing it off because I don't have anything for them to do because I forgot.
Yeah,
Um,
I think from one game master to another, a little bit of like, you know what? I'm just gonna be totally upfront and honest with you guys. I Hold on. Oh, I'm past 7 minutes. I fucked up. I fucked up big. I forgot to prep. I have nothing for you guys. I'm terribly sorry. We can meet and talk a little bit, but other than that, we're not getting a game.
yeah, I whoops. I did that. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I don't know. I'm stumbling over my words. Wyatt is an old guy who's an old space hand. He's kind of capable in almost every position. He too is also recently unemployed along with his wife, who we defined further. She's no longer as amorphous as she once was.
Correct. There is some history that I actually, you know what? Hey, can you can you guys, as quote unquote normal users, can you guys pin things in the travelers section of Discord? Is that a thing that you can do, or
Nope.
is that something I gotta do?
You can give us that power, but I don't think we have that power by default.
Okay, well, in that case, let me
Yeah, let me see.
see if I can
Yeah,
find.
can't pin stuff.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to discuss, or shall we move on to Thurgor and the question of
The,
whether or not his robe is fully tied?
the third G tonight stands for Ghastly.
Ghastly. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Right on. Every week the G changes. I see that. I appreciate that. In fact, it'll give me something new to look at or look forward to rather each week. Pin message. Oh yeah, pin it. There we go. I have pinned your Danny Day Stevens and Alia Wyatt. Thurgor, my friend.
Well, just because you're interested.
I'm not sure if I like the way this is starting off, but please continue.
I am partially reclined on the sofa,
Uh-huh.
propped up with one elbow, like I'm the most interesting man in the world.
Uh-huh.
I don't have my sash. The robe is covering what it must cover, but beyond that, you
I
know,
have one.
The only question I have is a white Russian in the hand or near the vicinity.
I was gonna say that you've got that on one hand, and on the other hand, you've got the Jeff Goldblum thing going. So where are we?
Yeah,
Is this going to be a Jeff Goldblum slash? Oh my God, I can't think of the actor's name now. I want to say Kurt Russell, but I know that's not right.
I don't know. I'm
The
drinking Mexican Coke, by the
Lebowski,
way.
the big Lebowski.
Uh-huh.
Who's the actor that played him? I can't think of his name now.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Thank you. I knew I was so far off with Kurt Russell, but for whatever stupid reason, that was the name that kept coming to mind. So we've got something of a Jeff Bridges going on here, and I'm combining the two names for clarity. I'm not screwing it up because I'm ignorant and stupid. I mean, I am ignorant and stupid. Don't get me wrong. Please, Thurgor, continue before I start talking all over you.
I haven't had a vacation since April. That's the last time I went home. So I had put 2 weeks on the books, but then we don't have another doctor to cover me while I'm gone right now. We do have another site. The last site visit we have, it didn't pan out. He didn't want to come up here. So I have another site visit coming up in 2 weeks, I think, with a new doc. He's pretty young. The terminology he was using on the Zoom call with him was when I and not if I. So I'm pretty sure he's a gimme, which is going to give me some freedom then moving forward. But anyway, so I cut my 2 weeks back to 1 week, and I'm stayed here. So I'm basically like on call, and I've had to go up there already.
Of course, of course.
But it's so fortuitous that
Ooh,
early release of Starfield happened for me on Thursday night. So I've been playing the living crap out of it.
Yes, I too.
Ever since Thursday, and I'm gonna have to be honest. I was disappointed with it at first because what I saw was that they imported, this element for all these different games and tried to combine them together to make one thing, and that's great. But they didn't necessarily take the best elements from those games to combine them together in this game.
Yeah,
so I was a little disappointed. I was a little disappointed at how fast travel-y everything is. I like some fast travel sometimes. You've already been there. You're running just to buy some adhesive. Go ahead.
You can do the real-time flight in Starfield, but it does respect the distance, and so I'm not really sure what the middle ground is, right? Because like if Mars is 6,000 kilometers away, you can just travel to Mars the slow way. It'll just take a couple hours.
But I think the problem is I think, and I don't know for sure, but I think there's some sort of, I'm going to use the word barrier, that prevents the actual atmospheric transition from space to the surface of the planet.
Right. Yeah, that's just a fast travel. Yeah.
You can't land
because all of those different all those different fast travel cutscenes, animations, whatever you want to call it, are masks for what's really going on, which is loading screen.
Right.
Although someone in defense, like you take Elite Dangerous, like they didn't add seamless planet landing transition until like years later.
Yeah, it took them about 2 years before Horizons came out. I think that was the name of it. And I played the shit out of Elite Dangerous for about 3-4 years off and on. So yeah, I'm definitely well aware of that. And I will say this: the process by which you transit from space to the ground in Elite Dangerous is really good, insofar as it doesn't really break your immersion a lot. That glide thing, the glide phase or whatever the hell it's called, if that's where they do the quote-unquote seamless transition, they did a really good job of covering. It really feels like, short of having like atmospheric, well, that was the one thing, is they didn't have, and I don't know if they do now. I haven't played in at least a year. The atmospheric transition, because right now last I played, you could only land on airless bodies. Anything else, it was, you couldn't even go to the surface on. Anyway, Sorry, please continue through.
Yeah. Now I miss kind of the No Man's Sky where you could hop in your ship, lift off, fly somewhere else, and land again.
Yeah,
Instead of hoofing it everywhere. If you wanted to
do
explore or whatnot.
Although No Man's Sky is a little bit more arcadey in a lot of ways too.
it
Yeah.
is.
And I didn't like No Man's Sky because it was too much a sandbox and not enough a game. Granted, that's evolved too, and I fully expect Starfield to evolve as
Oh,
well and get better. But one of the things that made me the maddest was because the inventory is an issue at the beginning. It usually is in a lot of games. In this one, it's particularly more so. But I was picking all this stuff up that in Fallout, hey, there's a roll of duct tape, snatch. There's a circuit
Oh,
board,
yeah.
snatch. I've got 150 kilos of duct tape and circuit boards. Thinking, boy, I am set to set up an off post and make some turrets. I am set to make some weapons, and both of those things are worthless.
Yeah.
They are just a junk item in this game.
I picked it up on Friday because I got paid on Friday, so that was when I was able to actually pick it up. And actually, give me one quick second, guys. My son needs my attention. Hold on.
Oh, sure, be an attentive father.
But at this point, I've gotten the free ship from Eklund, Stroud, whichever it is.
I'm back. But go ahead. I'm listening.
And I've picked up the Mantis too, or not the Mantis, the Razor Leaf.
Oh, that's a beautiful ship, by the way. I have one or two. I did that one, and it's there was one or two small things I didn't like about it. I think the cargo's a little bit. I could be wrong. Cargo might be a little bit less than the Frontier that you start with.
It's the same, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
There was something else, and I want to say. I don't know. Hold on. I gotta relay this message really fast. But there was something else. Maybe it was just the weapon loadout differences that was for me because I chose ballistics at some point, and then I went to go get the Mantis, and it's like, no ballistics over here, buddy. Anyways, okay. Sorry about that. My kid needs my attention from time to time. Please, Thorgar, continue.
That's pretty much it. I'm not going to talk about the weather because that just makes people mad.
Well, because you live in much more mild weather compared to us for at least another few more weeks. I don't know if you get the really bad winter stuff.
No, not too bad. It's like Arkansas. Yeah.
I don't really have a reference. I don't have a reference for Arkansas, unfortunately.
Well, it doesn't get really cold until like January, February, and you might see some teens or 20s.
Right.
But typically it's going to be in the 30s. The winter here just lasts a little longer.
Oh, you get a winter very much not terribly dissimilar from Charles and I.
Probably not. Yeah, we're on the same.
We're all in the same.
Rainforest.
We're all in the same.
Yeah.
I'll just say generic region, for lack of a better word.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well,
Pacific temperate rainforest.
Yeah. Well, that was their intros, and I'm going to bump my guns for a moment, and then we'll go ahead and get kicking off here. I do want to say this. Starfield, from what I have seen so far, first off, let me back that up just a tiny bit. So I got paid this past Friday, and I picked it up, the $100 version, so I can start playing right away, because I've been watching this game kind of off and on, and I didn't really, now when I say off and on, what I mean is I didn't do any deep dives into any reviews. I haven't looked into like interviews, podcasts, like I haven't done any of that. What I have seen is occasionally a video on YouTube and occasionally bits and dips and drabs from random people and entities out there. And so I was like, okay, well, Starfield, first off, it's coming from the people that made Skyrim, so it's got to be at least worth that much insofar as anything goes. At a bare bone minimum, it's got to be at least as good as Skyrim. At least that's what I'm hoping. And I looked into it, and I'm like, all right, bet. Let's check it out. And I hear people complaining because of the fast travel thing. I hear plenty of good things about it, and I hear this and I hear that. And then when it launched, I'm sorry, not launched, when early access took over, there was a lot of people talking about, hold off, don't get it yet, wait for it to do this, wait for it to do that, wait for this, wait for that. And I'm like, no, it's Christmas. I want to play. Now, to be fair, typically when a game gets released, it's full of bugs and shit. And there were a lot of complaints about bugs, glitches, things not running right, things not working right. On top of the fast travel system doesn't work, the trolley bits of, I can't land on a gas giant. Motherfucker, I dare you to land on a gas giant anywhere. Shut up. That's all I'm going to say on that, because that whole gas giant thing,
Yeah.
you can tell my blood pressure is rising already.
Nobody can land on a gas
Yeah,
giant.
exactly, bitch.
It's like trying to land on a star, except it's not as hot. It just crushes you.
Yeah, exactly. So, I will say this, though. At the end of the day, when I finally got it, and it was almost literally at the end of the day when I started playing it, because, kids and shit.
It's also a big game.
What's that?
Big game. It's like 100 gigabytes. It's a big
Oh,
game.
you know what? You're right. I downloaded it overnight. That's what it was. I started dabbling in it on Saturday in the middle of the day. Now I think about it, and it kind of like what you had said in Discord, Third Gore. It took a moment to grow on me, because also at the same time I'm also like trying to figure out how to get past the first like 4 hours of Baldur's Gate 3. And it's not because of the game, it's because I have too many options in my head about 101 goddamn character concepts that I want to try. So I can't get past the first 4 hours of Baldur's Gate 3, which is actually very, very frustrating for me. That said, Baldur's Gate 3 is an amazing game of what I've been able to accomplish so far. Going back to Starfield. I didn't want to ditch Baldur's Gate 3 and start playing Starfield, because I felt like with BG3, I hadn't really gotten very far. And clearly I have not. And yet, here I am looking at videos of Starfield 3, and a lot less videos of Baldur's Gate 3, or excuse me, looking at more videos of Starfield and not of BG3, and I'm just like, well, I guess we know where I'm going to go. And I'm still trying to have that, something of an internal debate about which one I'm going to do. Needless to say, the one hiccup I have, and this is a technological hiccup, this isn't even a game choice sort of thing, my computer can run it, but I freeze every now and again for a few seconds, and then it catches up, and I can do whatever I'm doing. It'll freeze again for a few seconds, and I can continue. That is literally the only issue I've had with it so far. A couple of times it's crashed the desktop, but I think what it is just my computer's trying to render things that can't render fast enough for what I'm trying to do, and it'll either freeze, or in those few instances, it'll be like, no, fuck you, I quit. And that is literally the worst thing I have to say about, I almost said Skyrim. Starfield. Ironically, when I had Skyrim years ago, I had similar problems. I don't know if it's a recurring thing, but it is what it is. Starfield's a great game. Baldur's Gate 3 is a great game. And speaking of great games, let's get back on track here. We're like 22 and a half minutes in. For those who don't know who I am, why are you even here? You know who I am. I'm Omar Creek. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, etc. The best place to find me, though, is wandering around on Discord. You can get on my Discord server. The server invites are all over my socials and all that stuff. Really, getting into the Krieg Dominion Discord is really the best way to find out what's going on and to keep up on whatever it is, such as when new videos of the Greyland Trio's 3025 season is released, or new videos of this show, if you're not already watching the stream. And that said, previously on Second Star, our heroes spend a few days in complete isolation outside of some of their previous crewmates being roommates of sorts. And I totally read that statement wrong because it leaves the wrong impression, so let me try that again. Previously on Second Star, our heroes spent a few days in complete isolation, except for the fact that some of their previous crewmates are now roommates. Days of tedium and boredom settle in, but then it is disrupted by the unexpected unlocking of the doors holding everyone in their rooms. Investigation leads to a break room where a variety of snacks and frozen microwavable foods are available. After a time, the trap is sprung. Captain Teresa Oppenheimer arrives, but surprisingly seems to subtly indicate she is on their side, but forced to follow along with orders given to her. It is at this point that we find out those members of the Wayfinder crew that were brought down to Beowulf are being eliminated from Flex and sent on their merry way. Over the course of the next few days, they are processed out, but also given an opportunity to have a meeting with someone who could prove helpful in their current predicament. And of course, the whole time I read that, especially about the variety of snacks and frozen microwavable foods, all I could think about, once again, even like when I wrote this up, I had this thought, and now I have it again. I have that image in my head of Fritz fucking Hellwig with a half-eaten, warmed up burrito just wagging it around as he's talking, using the burrito as a talking point. Anyways, our opening sequence. In the blackness of space, there is nothing but a faintly bright light to the right of the camera, a star far and away from our vantage. Dozens of ships arrive, one after the other, arriving in ones and twos, and some by threes and fours. There's a subtle flash of light as a ship appears, and then that flash seems to withdraw in an exact opposite vector as the ship arriving. One flash and retreat per arriving ship, and there are many arriving. They all turn towards that faint light far and away, and as one they slide from camera left to right, almost as a slow processional. Finally, after a moment of seeing countless ships after ship slide by, the camera wheels about, pointing to an unspecified expanse of stars, and the view fades away, gradually fading back in over a small cityscape with the date in the lower left-hand corner of the screen reading Tuesday, 26th May, 2297. And in the final seconds of the opening, a voice can be heard as though from a television or radio somewhere off-screen. Tensions continue to rise and questions remain unanswered as the University of Alicia's staff and students on Grendel are still stranded, even as both the Grendel Storm season swings into high gear and reports of pirate raiders filter in from the outer reaches of the system. And that takes us to our first scene. So, allow me a moment to describe more or less what's going on. It is the morning of Tuesday, the 26th of May. The day prior was when you guys were all basically terminated after completing a few days of out processing bullshit, like turning in whatever equipment you have, filling out a fuck ton of paperwork, and maybe even a visit with a shrink or two. It's about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and you guys have a little bit of time to kill before your meeting with Iron Mike Tankerson, which is scheduled for about 3 o'clock that afternoon. If I said anything prior to this moment, at any point in time, days, weeks, hours, however long ago, whatever time I said is immaterial. It is now set for sometime around 3 o'clock this afternoon. If there was a previous time I mentioned, it was rescheduled because maybe Tankerson had a meeting to go to before and had to bump your guys' meeting up. Regardless, this is a chance for you guys to detail whatever you may have been doing since your official release and that final meeting with Captain Eppenheimer that you guys had out on the street when she showed up with the NDA and whatever. I think Fritz was the only one that actually was like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care. So I'll sign the damn thing. And one other thing to note, do not let the time of day confuse you. The planet Beowulf has a ridiculously long rotational cycle, something like 500 hours to one local day. If you want a very clear number, you can look in book 3 of the starter kit. Nope, that's Vehicle Spacecraft. Book 2, The Worlds of 2300. Beowulf has something like a 523-hour day. It's ridiculous how long that day is. Yeah, so basically, what have you guys been up to since 5 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday until now? I'm going to start with Charles.
Hang on, make sure I'm not on double mute again.
No, I can hear you.
All right. I think at this point, I'm going to probably stagger around. Well, we don't have a living arrangement, and we're just waiting for him, Iron Mike, to show up. So I think I'm going to stagger around and go find a hotel, motel, Holiday Inn to go put my stuff.
You're paying by the night, not by the hour, right? Just to be clear.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. Are you taking anybody from the ship's crew that was down on the surface with you?
Oh, I'm taking the two knuckleheads with me.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, hey, we need to go find a room. We don't know what's gonna happen next.
Okay. Before you lock that in, I'm gonna ask Thurgor if he wants to take Spearman and Aiello. And the only reason why I ask that is because he spent the last few days with them personally while you were locked up with Paul Gray. So Thurgor, Wood Milligan.
You can hear
Go ahead.
You can hear the words in my mouth before I even speak. I'm like, those are my two knuckleheads.
Those are my kids. You ain't taking my kids. I'm sorry.
Right, and I mean, at
We
that
can all
point,
go together.
I'm gonna
That's
go
an
look at
option.
him. I'm gonna go look over him across the top of my glasses like that, that teacher
Like the
look, and
teacher?
go, yeah, and then basically say, all right, which one do you want to go with, mom or dad?
That would be you. I'm picturing you using those exact words, by the way. Which one do you want to go with? Pointing to Thurgor. Mom or dad? Pointing to yourself. And not Thurgor. It
Yeah,
would be Milligan, but
yeah,
still. And those Milligan or Thurgor, whatever, brings up a good
yeah,
point. Like, you could all go together. You don't necessarily have to separate. That's,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
We
So
all need a place to stay. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, and I mean, I don't really mention that, but if he's asked me the question, I'm gonna say, hey, yeah, we need a place to stay. I mean, I don't like to live out on the streets, and I look around and say, although this place looks clean, and I mutter something in derogatory German, it's not clean enough, and I like
Snatch!
a warm,
Sorry.
I like warm beds. So yeah, we're gonna go find some place, and then I'm gonna look at Gray and say, come on, tag along. Schnell, let's go.
Yeah. So as another point of reference, Aliceport, which is the city that you guys are in, it's a reasonably sized city adjacent to the planet's ground-side starport. So, we're talking like I don't have specific numbers. It's probably listed somewhere in the Traveler 2300 sphere. But Aliceport's probably like in the neighborhood of at least a couple 100,000, if not more. Like, this is not a small town or outpost kind of thing. Like, this is a full-grown city on a major world in the French arm. So if there's a place you want to think of to go to, it's probably got some sort of local equivalent.
is
Yeah.
is Aliceport the city that's very British centric, or am I thinking of a different place?
That's a good question. Let me look in the book real quick just to double check, because I want to lean towards yes. Let's see. What page was Beowulf? Charm is 34. Let's see. Beowulf. Yeah. The days and nights can be like 40 plus days, according to this book. Maybe I need a specific entry, not just the data. Do you not have a paragraph or two about Bale fucking Wolf here? What the hell?
Nope.
They got like 4 paragraphs for Aurora, which is basically a couple of colonies, but also, much more central to the plot. Okay, well, in that case, let me look at the map of Beowulf and make a determination of my own accord. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Aliceport being predominantly British because everything on that continent has a British-ish name, and then the other continent, which is called Europa Nueve, that's not even correct. That's French, and I've said it completely wrong. Basically, New Europe has a city named Devereux, spelled Frenchly. So yeah, well, let's go with Aliceport being predominantly British or heavy British influence.
Okay.
That means the food's gonna suck. I'm
Yep,
just saying.
everything's boiled. Spices stolen from other colonies.
Oh,
There's a museum, but you can't get your shit back without paying a little bit to go see it. Anyways.
So anyhow, yeah, I'm gonna just mention that we're gonna go find whatever is above like the lowest grade hotel or motel, and then mid grade, right?
Yeah,
maybe like the local version of the La Quinta.
yeah.
Or
You get
something like that.
you get a place called like the Two Bells Inn.
Yeah.
Nobody knows
And
what
then
the Two Bells means, but it's just the name, their logo.
Yep. But we will. I'll go pay for some rooms out of my credits and just say, hey, we need this for 24 hours.
Okay. Yep, you got a
And
room
then,
for 24 hours now.
Yep. And then just say, hey, this is the room. I pass out room keys. All right,
You're
you don't need to hang.
one. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. I'm gonna just say, hey, one, no holes. And I look at the two knuckleheads. I said,
No, this is a
um,
conversation that would happen with two basically not any more privates in the brand new privates in
and
the
then
army.
and then I say, and then I'm gonna remind them. I'm gonna remind both of them. You can go shopping. You got a place to drop your stuff. But if we go someplace, we may not have space for it. So think about that for a second. You can get the T-shirts, but you may not be able to pack them away. Get
Yeah,
something smaller.
This is all
Like,
transitory.
yeah. Get like a pen. Get a bell. Get a stupid magnet. I don't care. And then
Foam
I'm
number
just gonna
one
go.
fingers. Hold
Yeah,
off on those.
exactly.
I'm gonna be standing behind him, and while he's saying all this little stuff, I'm gonna be shaking my head no, and I'm just gonna take my hands and start spreading them apart, making them bigger and bigger.
Get bigger stuff. Get bigger stuff. Okay. All right. So we have an
Yep.
idea of what. Well, that's only a little bit of it. No, go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna say I am incredibly tired, and then I immediately just start throwing my stuff into a corner of the room, one of the rooms, and say I'm gonna go grab a shower and go lay down. Immediately put on the channel to whatever the movie channels are,
Yeah.
and then go start stripping out to go take a hot shower and go take a nap.
Here's one for you. Sci-fi fans of an old school nature. It's one of the channels you flip through is exclusively a Doctor Who channel with the 17th Doctor. I don't know if that means. I don't even know if that number is appropriate because aren't they on like the 11th or some shit like that?
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah, but we can just talk it up to it. It's
Yeah.
still going.
Yeah, or just Doctor Who that's the 17th Doctor. Whenever that would have been, that's the current era that they're in, whether it's recent or not. Okay, you're gonna go shower. You're gonna go get some rest.
Yep.
And then let's go to Wiggles and his wife and whoever else he deems to bring along because there were. I should have had my notes open for that one, but there were a couple others that I threw in. I'm gonna say red herrings. They weren't exactly red herrings, but there were a couple other crewmates that were brought in. The
Marshall
steward,
Tran was one.
Marshall Tran, the steward, not the senior steward, and then there was the female. Oh, Blaine. Blaine was the other one. Kirsty Blaine. So they're still kind of up for grabs, for lack of a better word to use. If you guys want to rope them into your little party, or if you want to let them wander off on their own.
They can die. It's okay.
What's that?
Nothing.
Did you just say they can die? It's okay.
Okay.
Wiggles, what do you and your wife and whoever else you're bringing along, what are you guys up to other than maybe adult married couple things?
Adult married couple things. Filing taxes, things like that.
Oh, man.
We'll probably look for a temporary housing that's in orbit, so I can stop dying.
That's a fair point. I forgot about that. I'm glad you bring that up because I often forget about your character's very low gravity history. I keep forgetting about that. So no, that's probably not a bad idea. Now, I do have a question. You guys have made some decent cash compared to your fellow members of the party, but getting up to orbit is probably going to be, I won't say expensive, but it's not going to be cheap.
Our meeting's planet side, right?
Third or first?
I said our meeting is planet side, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And then Wiggles, what were you saying?
If it's too expensive, then Alicia and I we've worked in the space trade long enough. We could probably, work out a deal or like, hey,
That's a fair point.
we just gonna ride them to orbit. You're already going to orbit.
Surely in a place as big as Aliceport, there would be a spot for zero-G travelers. That instead of a bed, you would have like, I don't know, it's basically like a sensory deprivation tank. where
Well,
you're like,
I think the problem is like, how do you, on the surface of a planet, and Beowulf has, I forget exactly, I don't want to look it up, but it's got fairly similar to Earth. Not exactly the same, but anyway, the problem is when you're on the planet, that gravity is crushing all the time, no matter what you do. I feel like, I don't know any better. I feel like even in a tank floating, it's still gonna pull you down. Obviously, I have no frame of reference or any way to verify that statement, but you know what I mean, though.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
we'll look around. I'm sorry.
that's fine.
No, we'll look for a ship that's already going to leave orbit if it's going to get close to our hotel. It's like, hey, we just
Let me
hitch a
ride up and
ride
hang
up
out for a
and
few hours and catch the next boat down.
yeah,
Okay, I feel like
something like that. Before Wyatt would do that though, he would try to make sure that everyone else was in the hotel with them, all of them have housing,
okay,
and if any of them can't afford it, he would offer to try to pay for it himself.
okay, yeah. I feel like somewhere between. I don't want to speak for anybody's character, but I feel like somewhere between Helwig and Milligan, that the randos that are following along. I mean, they all got that same 10,000 Libra check, as well as their final month's pay and whatever else. I feel like somewhere, I feel like anywhere how you slice it, like everybody's gonna be able to afford at least the one night.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But Wyatt would feel responsible to make
Oh
sure
yeah,
everyone has housing and whatnot, and
oh
he
yeah,
would try to make
absolutely.
sure that happens.
That's one of the hallmarks of a good leader. Looking out for your subordinates, helping them out, make sure they're good. And then Mr. Milligan, as you and your partner there are having your custody battle. I had to. I'm sorry. What else are
Every
you
other
doing?
weekend.
Every other. I get them on every day that ends in Y, except the ones that ends with Y. Got it.
So I am going to send off a couple messages to start with.
Mm-hmm.
First to Jillian Hobbs, the field agent supervisor, or the
Yeah. Hold
supervisor
on.
of the field agent. Yeah.
I'm actually gonna pull a pen out and a note card because I feel like this is something I might want to remember for the future. Please go ahead.
No.
Jillian Hobbs. I don't recall specifically who she is.
Okay, so she is. I had her as the field agent supervisor, but she got a promotion since I last saw her. So she is now
Yes.
the field agent supervisor manager. So she manages
Oh
all
my
the field agent
fucking god!
supervisors.
I am so sorry. I'm totally cutting in. It definitely sounds like some shit I would say to make a joke. So let me.
It was
All right. So field agent. I'm not gonna remember what.
supervisor manager.
Jesus fucking Christ! I hate myself sometimes.
She's the phasm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna, I've met
And
her
she
at
was
the
at.
bar.
Was she at Repco or was she something else?
She's Rebco SAR.
Okay.
Yeah, two of my contacts are from Rebco SAR.
Right, and the other one was retired.
Yeah, he's
I
now
believe.
on. She told me he was actually in 10 staff
That's
on
it. Yep.
Aurora.
Yeah,
Yep.
because he was either let go or he quit. I feel like he was let go
Yeah.
because
I
of
think he
some.
retired.
I think he was. I think it was. I'd have to look back at my notes. I remember he was. I feel like he was kind of pushed out as part of some realignment. Like he had tried to do
All I
something, it
have
didn't
is,
go well, and he was pushed out. He
yeah,
was
I have
allowed to
left
retire.
company. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he joined a mercenary group in 10 staff.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know which one yet. So anyway, with Jillian, I'm going to message her and I'm going to lay it all out. I'm going to start back because I didn't give her a whole lot of details before,
So you're gonna
just that
spill all the tea and beans regarding Flex, the Empire of
all of
Mankind,
it, because
everything you know.
I want her to spread it. And
Oh.
I will even say that at the end of the mail, because I'm going to go into how they treated us, how they held us, illegally, how they gave us a pittance to go away, and then still asked us to sign an
And
NDA.
still,
Like,
I was
who
just
would
gonna
do
say,
that?
and still asked us to keep our mouth shut.
Right. So I just want her to know that I'm no longer with them. That's why, and to please, help get my story out there and all my crewmate stories out there, because Flex has done us horribly dirty, knowing the whole time that the person responsible was the one person they didn't have.
Yeah, and we got to make sure you drive that point in, because that's the coup de grace on the woe is me part of the story.
Yep. You got it. So Charles, I'm just going to send him a message saying, "Hey, touch base with
What was
Bob
Charles's name again?
Pendergast."
Pendergast.
Yep.
Okay. And he was the one
Yeah.
that was last known to be headed to.
He was the VP of Off-World Operations, and then she said he had joined up with a Merck company in Tenstaffel.
Okay. Yeah, because I think Tenstaffel actually stood up its own quasi militia. I mean, this in our timeline won't happen
It's
for
not
like
quite
another
there
year
yet,
yet. So maybe they were just some Merc groups that they basically drafted. That's not the right word. Impressed.
Yeah. When they start to grow, they reach out to Germany and
Yeah.
get a bunch of people to help with that. So
Yeah. So this message to Mr. Pendergrass, former something or other, no longer now a Merc.
yeah. So I'm just going to say, hey, ran into Jillian Hobbs back on wherever that was, and we were talking about days gone by, and she told me that you were in Tensacola. I'm like, that's actually where I'm from. I said, if you see my mom and dad around, and I give them the names, be sure to tell them hi, tell them I'm doing okay and everything.
Tell your mom and them I
ask
said
them,
hi.
Yep. And my mom and them.
Yeah.
And and I ask him, how's it going there?
Okay.
And I also say, Jillian said something about losing contact with the station in Arcturus.
Yeah,
Have you
Arcturus
heard anything
Station.
else? Yeah, have you heard anything else about that? And then I pretty much wrapped that up with some pleasantries and be done. So William Walker is my third contact. He's the staff sergeant.
You're gonna have to give me a second. I'm still writing down Arcturus Station.
Okay.
Sorry, I can only write so fast, and my typing is slightly better. Okay. This other guy, what was his name?
William Walker.
That sounds like whiskey. But anyway.
Mm-hmm. He's
Johnny Walker,
it's a mix,
isn't it?
It's a mix of oh my gosh, now I'm having a brain fart. Braveheart, William Wallace and Johnny Walker. That's what
there you
where that
go.
came from.
A drunk freedom fighter. That's what I got. All right. William Walker, who is he?
He's a staff sergeant. I had quartermaster to start with, but that's not appropriate. I looked up and made up some terms. He's SNSUP, I think, which is like station side naval supply.
Okay, station side naval.
British state, yeah.
Okay.
Space Navy.
This is the UK Space Forces.
So he's the guy that I would just like when I was in,
or Her Majesty's or His Majesty's Royal Space Navy, probably.
Yeah, when I was on Tyrane doing my flex training and all that kind of stuff, I just said that's kind of where I met up with him, and we were buddies or whatnot. So I'm going to pretty much spill it out to him too, just like I did with Jillian, and say, dude, I just had the most wild time, and I go into again, I go back. I mean, I recount everything. I recount us, figuring out a way to intercept messages, trying our best to decode them, getting really suspicious about the captain, but literally one step before we're able to do anything about it, he sabotages the ship, blah, blah, blah. Go through a whole thing with Flex, same emphasis on how we were illegally detained, all of that stuff.
They were looking in all the wrong places.
That's right. Feel free to share this with whoever you want to share it with. Okay. I want the word out.
Okay.
And after that, I'm going to get my pillows in my bed. And I've done this at a hotel before when I was leaving, just to freak out the housekeeping. I made a person out of my pillows and pulled the covers up over them so it looked like there was a dead body in the bed. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to sleep on the floor on the other side of the bed with my SVP laying across my chest.
Are you expecting the witches of Angmar?
I am expecting everything right now. I am so paranoid right now. I just want to get the hell out of here. I want to go shopping for a cat, but I'm like, no, I don't want to be looking over my shoulder shopping for a cat. Plus, I don't know where we're going, and I may bring a cat to a ship, and they go, no, we already have one, or no, you can't bring that on here, or whatever. So yeah, I'm kind of shelving the cat for right now until we have a ship of our own.
Got it
Here.
Yeah, you got anything else?
I'm gonna do my best to get some rest, but I'm gonna set something up by the door so if the door gets open, it's gonna make some noise. Put a chair there with some other crap in the chair.
A bell attached to the door frame. Wiggles, I think you were trying to say something. I may have just totally cut Thurgor off too. I'm not sure.
I'm good.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say something for a minute there and kind of rolled the train right on over you. So, all right. So, just to verify before we start, by morning everybody is ready to continue. I imagine. Any outliers? Anybody that wants to do anything in the middle of the night?
Not really. I'm probably, for me, I'm gonna watch the guys come back and just look at
I'm
them
a,
with their stuff and just shake my head
Yeah, because I feel
and
like
say,
They had 10 grand in their pocket.
yeah, they had 10 grand in their pocket. They're definitely gonna go and blow some of it.
it burns my hands.
Yeah, you
They're
know.
gonna have gold necklaces that say Beowulf on them and all sorts of stuff.
But it's not even
Oh.
gold. It's that cheap shit that turns your neck green.
Whatever, they got 10 grand. They could get an all gold one if they want.
I mean, they could. They
No,
wouldn't.
not even that. It's, and I'm air quoting this, traditional Beowulf colonial garb.
Oh my god.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about, Omar. You know, when you've been overseas someplace and it's some cheesy
Yep.
rip off
Oh yeah.
garb. And you're like,
Mhm.
dude, why? You didn't have to buy the Oompa Loompa setup. No. Oh.
Yeah, no, I feel like Aiello and Spearman, the first opportunity they had, as soon as you guys stopped, basically sheepdogging them into a corner, they bolted and went to go find, like, the best expensive restaurant they could find that didn't have a dress code. So probably something like, I don't know, a souped-up Olive Garden. I don't, by the way, I'm not knocking Olive Garden. They've got some really good food. But I'm talking about, like, most places that need a jacket, they're not going there, but they're going to the very next thing beneath that. In whatever Michelin rating scheme or whatever the case might be.
Yeah. Whatever they've been told is by some local tour guide.
Oh, yeah, some local tour guide. I'm air quoting that because it's probably some bum on the corner trying to scam them on something. Yeah, so I think the first thing they're gonna go get some good food and they're gonna gorge themselves and they probably have a drink or two, not stumbling drunk drink or two, but like definitely feeling a little bit loose. And then there are 3 gift shops on the way back to the hotel since the hotel gift shop was closed by the time they got there, and they both have one of them definitely Spearman. Fuck it, it's Spearman. He's got the big yellow number 1 foam hand. Despite you saying, cargo capacity, Aiello's got the gold ring that says Beowulf. Actually, no, this is what he's got. He's got 2 rings that sit next to each other. One ring is Beo, the other ring says Wolf. Big blocky square shit, right? But these are definitely, you can tell as soon as you see them that these are the rings that are going to leave green bands around their fingers after about a day or two. And the diamonds are very much not diamonds. Or if they are, they're like that shit that you get like, okay, so for those that don't know, the diamond industry is kind of a scam in and of itself. To pull a diamond out of the earth is actually pretty cheap in the grand scheme of things. But they mark the fuck up out of it because of ancient traditions about spending money on your spouse and whatever to get married. And listen, if you do some research into it, you'll see that I'm kind of on the mark. Lab diamonds are incredibly cheap because they're incredibly easy to make. Point being, these are not diamonds, or if they were diamonds on these rings that Aiello has, these are like the easiest. Like a dude could go and pan for diamonds at the local river, kind of diamonds.
Yeah.
Like I realize diamonds aren't going to get panned, but I think we all understand where I'm going with that.
No. It totally. I can totally see that, and if not that, then at least some girl from the bar they stopped off at at the way.
Oh yeah, she's probably the one that pointed them out. Now give me that one.
Yeah. And I'm just like I'm gonna look at him and just shake my head and go.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Wiggles just said something in stream chat. It's now lore that you can pan for diamonds on Beowulf.
No, and I'm gonna go look at that. I'm just gonna go. I told you guys, small, and I don't know who Bunny and Candy are here, and I'm kind of waving my hands in front of them. But again, no holes, and please tell me you have something left over.
Oh, I
As
still
I'm
got like
rubbing
75 credits or 75 Libra at least in my pocket, let alone the check that I haven't cashed yet.
70,
Halo, by the way, is like I got rings, and he shows both fingers, and it's you can see like you get a really good look. You can see how shitty these like. This is carnival level rings right
yeah. And
there.
I just rub my eyes and just go, and just go. We have a meeting with somebody tomorrow. Maybe a job opportunity. You guys are gonna come along. Do not wear those god awful things, or I swear to God.
I'm trying to picture how Tankerson's gonna reply to that. Because you guys don't know a whole lot about him yet. I'm trying to figure out how you might. Oh my god, I might make a Halo wear those rings now. Oh man.
See, I'm back. I'm very much back to being the prim and proper.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're out of catastrophizing.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm just like,
What's
oh,
one of
you
job
guys,
interviews? God damn it, Wiggles. I'm sorry. Go
yeah.
ahead, Charles.
I'm just gonna be drinking. You guys are gonna be the reason I drink. Uh,
As he sips from a bottle of beer that says Beowulf's finest home brewed
yeah,
lager.
yeah, yeah. Basically, you know what? Just go to bed. Just go to bed, and I'm just gonna go right back into my room and just close
I
the
think
door.
as because they're gonna go into the same hotel room, right? Or suite or whatever
Yeah.
the case might be. And I think Aiello's gonna look back over his shoulder and be like, "Good night, Dad." Okay, so let's go ahead unless anybody else has anything else they want to do. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit here to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Unless anybody has anything they want to do first thing in the morning. Gray will go with you guys to the meeting. I think Blaine, he's managed to dodge Aiello and Spearman. Let me just ask this. If Blaine gave any sort of indication about trying to hang out with you guys, would anybody have opposition to that? Or objection, I should say.
No,
Oh,
not for me.
Okay,
I mean, if she's wanting to continue on with us as a group,
what are you doing to my table?
I didn't mean to do that. That was an accident.
oh my gosh.
I mean, it's like God. It's like Aiello and Spearman came to life all of a sudden.
No, I just
Oh,
went to zoom away, and then all of a sudden the table started to rotate. Like,
Oh, because the
the
table
ship-
wasn't locked for some reason. Okay.
the ship was moving.
No, I mean, at the most, I would say, I might ask Milligan and what's her face to join us for breakfast, and we'll go figure out how we're gonna approach this upcoming meet.
All right, we can
So-
do that scene. You
Yep.
want and who do you
And-
want there? You want Fritz,
Mil-
Milligan,
Yeah,
and who else?
what's her face that we were just talking about her?
Christy Blaine, the
And the
Yeah.
boys.
the part-time team leader.
Yeah, the part-time team leader. And we might as well take the boys along with us. Let them be in their
Yep.
gaudiest.
Jesus Christ! Hold on, let me think. I think Spearman shows up and it's not quite a wife beater because it's okay. It's a sleeveless T-shirt. I'll go with that.
Right.
Okay, because he
Right.
knows better than to go. Because I imagine you're gonna eat at like the hotel, restaurant, lounge sort of deal.
Exactly.
Not necessarily the free breakfast they put up, but like in the actual lounge or whatever.
Yeah,
Spearman's gonna
I-
show up with a sleeveless T-shirt, and the fading is like it's pretty well faded, and you actually notice there might be a small hole down near the. I don't know what the bottom of the T-shirt's called, but I'm gonna say the hem, and I know that's not right.
Yeah. No, that's correct. Damn.
Okay. There's a small hole there. You're like, clearly this is a shirt he's had for a while. It just says something about, I'm trying to think, something about exploring the French arm. And you're not 100% sure because some of the imagery is worn off, but it may have actually suggested this was actually a rather lewd shirt at one point in time, like when it was first off the press. But now it's like, the only thing you can clearly see now is something about exploring the French arm. Go ahead.
At that point, as they come walking up, I'm gonna look at Milligan. and just go, "Your children."
I'm like smiling from ear to ear.
So Spearman comes up at the same time. Like, he's like half a pace behind Aiello. And he actually looks like half decent put together. He's got some jeans. They're a little ratty and faded, but I mean, who's going to argue a pair of jeans that he's clearly had for a little while that have gotten some use out of him? He doesn't have anything crazy on as far as a t-shirt. Like, he's got a shirt on, obviously, but you do notice that he is wearing one of his gift store necklaces that he picked up somewhere along the way from Terrain, something from Mars. Something it shows something about like, you know, Mars, the god of war, Mars, the red planet, something silly like that. Kirsty Blaine appears as she is trying to keep her distance from the boys. Not necessarily like, not in the way of like a sexual encounter gone bad or anything silly like that, but more like she knows what
this is Dumb and Dumber. She doesn't want to be associated with Dumb and Dumber.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, she knows that if she needs to put bullet holes in something, these two can do it all day long and be great. Any other time, she doesn't really want to be near them that much. And this is one of those times where bullet holes are not required. So she's trying to, like, when she sits at the table, she tries to sit as far away from them as possible without going to a whole another table.
Right.
Do you want Paul Gray there as well?
Sure, why not? Let's
Paul
just add
Gray,
him to the mix.
as he appears, because at this point, let's just imagine you guys were like, hey, let's go have breakfast about 9 or 10 in the morning. Paul Gray appears, and he looks like he has been up all night drinking, but he's not actually drunk. He just hasn't slept.
Oh, God.
And when questioned, I'll go ahead and forego the questioning part. When questioned as to what he was doing, that Doctor Who. Oh my God. Like, I am British. I was in His Majesty's Royal Space Navy. How did I spend my whole life not knowing about Doctor Who? And so if he wasn't watching Doctor Who in the last 18 hours or however long it's been, he was looking it up on the link and reading article after article, you know, the link version of the Wikipedia of Doctor Who. And that's why he looks like he hasn't slept. Like, he says, oh, actually, I fell asleep like 2 hours ago, but, you know, here I am. I'm actually kind of hungry now. There. We just canonized Doctor Who for our story.
There you go.
All you, what is it, Whovians? Is that what they're called? I don't know.
Yeah, they're called, yeah. So at this point, I'm gonna go look at Blaine and then look at Milligan. And I'm gonna say, we have a meeting with this Rocky dude. And I look at Paul Gray. I said, he's the one who set us up with this. These two, and I'm gonna just wave my hands at this. These two need to be respectable, presentable.
Hey! I can put a jacket on. That's
like,
for
I got an idea about
shirt,
part of that.
God damn it, the sleeveless shirt guy.
Muscle shirt.
Yeah, there you go. Muscles. Thank you. Because I knew I was going to keep screwing it up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Jacket. No.
So I've got something one of them can wear. Which one of them is closest to my size?
Pick one at this point, because I never gave real physical descriptions for them. Other than they're both like, I picture Spearman being kind of a I feel like I've mentioned Spearman being something of a ginger before, so he's probably pale skinned a little bit. Probably both of them are probably average builds. Like, there's nothing real special about them, but they both have that strength that you only get from working on the farm or other mental situations that I can't really say live. They're just strong. I'll just say that. Hello, Stormbender. Thank you for joining us.
So I still have my vac suit. It's an armored vac suit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where we're going. I don't know what rules are in place where we're going. That's something we need to find out. But if we could have our own armed guard with us, I would be more than happy to temporarily outfit them,
Gray
one of
speaks
them
up
in such a way.
Yeah, Gray speaks up. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna actually. I probably should have told you all this yesterday. We're gonna meet at the. This is a French word, so please bear with me. Le Charpe de la Rue, which is a French eatery near the spaceport. Very public. Like all the roads or all the sidewalks nearby, like everybody's walking by because it's like right in the middle of, I don't know, art district. Humor me. Like so, any need to be armed outside of maybe a small piece is probably going to draw more attention than anything else.
So
Is it illegal?
That's a damn good question. I have no idea. Man, it's Beowulf. It's probably not terribly illegal.
Right.
Let me look up Beowulf real quick and see what their law level is. Please continue conversing on your own.
So at this point, I'm going to look at Milligan and say, although that sounds like a great idea, we still need to have them dressed appropriately to go to. I mean, this isn't even like going to this is this this is. I can't even describe what this. This is like
It's a
hanging
job
around
interview.
your. It's a job interview. Yes, dress for the job interview. Yes.
Right. Dress for the job you want.
These two obviously want to be unemployed and holding a sign saying,
Well, that's why I
Will.
want to put at least one of them in my vac suit
Oh, God.
and show that he is.
And once
you know,
again,
a
Aiello's like,
martial
I can
individual.
put a jacket on. Shit. I hear you. You know that, right?
And I'm gonna look at him again. I'm gonna just look at him with again over the top of my glasses, and just look at both of them and just mutter something in German of a just derogatory and a cuss word, and then I'm gonna look at Barnes and just go. I know you don't want to be associated with these two.
Oh, Blaine.
But
Blaine. Yeah. Sorry.
Blaine, yeah, sorry, Blaine. Yeah. And I was like, but we need to keep them in line for this job interview because I don't know what to do next. And I don't want to go back to being a police officer or being something else. And this sounds like fun and adventure. So let's not screw this up.
And family. Family is what matters.
Okay. All right. Calm
God.
down. Calm down, Vin Diesel. I think what we get I think what we get here is Blaine is going to give kind of a sigh and be like, okay, all right. And she actually grabs.
Actually,
go ahead.
I'm gonna say as she sighs, and I'm just gonna whip out a cred stick, and then I'm gonna say, "Give me your cred stick, damn it!"
She's like,
And
no, listen, they've got money, I've got money, we'll figure this out. And she actually grabs Aiello by the scruff of his neck, and then kind of. Now, when I say this, she's not being overly rough. It's more of a kind of a playful gesture, but also there's a certain amount of like, there's no argument that you're coming with me. So she grabs Aiello by the scruff of his neck and leads him to the front door of the restaurant or hotel or what have you, and then kind of gives like a good swift boot to Spearman's ass. Like, no, yeah, you too, you're coming with me. And then she looks back over her shoulder as she's guiding these two out the front of the building, and she's like, "We'll be back in an hour. We'll have this taken care of." With that sort of military efficiency / authority / reassurance tone that I'm sure Charles knows what I'm talking about. Like, don't worry, nah, Top, we got this. I got this. We'll be back.
Yep. And then I'm gonna.
They were not back in an hour. God damn it. Wiggles fucks me up every time with his comments.
And then I'm gonna look at Milligan and just go.
I'm so sorry, Charles. I'm so sorry. I'm seeing these comments.
No.
Please continue.
And then I'm gonna look at Milligan and just go. All right, we need not to screw this up. We need to find the XO and come up with a game plan, or we just need to walk in with like 5 minutes prep. It's been a while since I've had to do this thing. Lead on, McGuff.
I
We
think
still got like 6 hours, right?
So it's like 9 or 10 now, and the meeting's set for 3. And then as you mention the XO, you hear Gray, and I think when he says this, it's kind of I think maybe he meant it as a mutter, but it comes out a little bit louder. He's like, actually, speaking of, where is he? And he's looking at the time on his, like he's actually wearing a watch or something. He's like, actually, where is the XO? I thought he'd be down here by now. Where is the XO? Wiggles?
Powdering his old man balls because they get sticky.
God damn it. Ask and you shall receive. And I did not need to receive that information.
You opened the door.
I did. God damn it.
I'm just saying that he has some appreciable stock in Gold Bomb.
Well, when you're in your 50s, maybe you should.
If he received also notification of the meeting, then he would be.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, he does have nice clothes. Have we gotten our stuff back yet?
Yeah, you have all your whatever equipment was not specifically designated as flex. It and definitely yours has been returned. And as far as this meeting, one, the meeting for 3:00, everybody should know about, because even if you happen to not be in the little huddle around Captain Oppenheimer at the end of last episode, Gray would have sent out a little RSVP. Is that the word I'm looking for? Whatever. He would have sent out a notification, and if this breakfast meetup was intended as a group thing, anybody that was intended to be there would have also received a message from one of y'all. I don't know who.
No, because Wyatt actually does have formal clothing, which is tailored to 100% fit and at superior quality.
There you go.
So he has a $3,200 suit. So
you might as well use it.
Yeah, no, I got it for these kind of situations.
Yeah.
You're pushing that motorbike around too.
His Yamaha 500cc. I'm sorry.
Although he is a spacer, so he actually spent the real money on a spacesuit.
Oh yeah, of course, with extra arms and everything.
Yeah, no, he's got a $25,000 spacesuit. But he has nice clothes.
He's got a $25,000 spacesuit and a $300 fitted suit.
He'll make arrangements to come planet side and get some of the medication required to help him out. And yeah, and he'll be as punctual as he can be. Okay. And he'll coordinate with Milliken and he'll like to do so.
Alrighty. So it sounds like breakfast is good to go. Is there anything else that we need to do here for breakfasty stuff? I don't know if there's any other questions that needed to be addressed.
I just had one other question.
No.
I wanted to get on the link system and look up news sources.
Okay. What are you looking for? Are you talking about like your local news stations or?
Yep.
Okay. What are you looking for?
Particularly investigative reporters.
I don't know. I'm sure there's some sort of shit. I cannot think of a damn one of them in the real world now. I said TMZ last time. No, I said TMZ and GTL. No, I did definitely say TMZ and GTL.
Insider edition.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I'm looking for somebody with a little more.
Ooh, here you go. You ready?
Cred.
National Insider.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, help me guide your search.
All right. So
pretend I am Clippy.
Clippy. Oh, good lord.
I figured you'd appreciate that one.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to find as many of them over the next probably just hour that I can using the link system.
Okay.
I'm going to try to set up basically a press conference, not like a big fancy one with cameras and all that kind of stuff.
You're going to set up a Zoom call with all of these people?
Oh, I'm going to invite them to the hotel and we're going to sit around a table and we're going to be loud about it.
Oh, you're going to go fucking balls out with this one.
You got it.
Okay. I think you get a little bit of feedback. I think the biggest response you get, the one that seems the most likely to happen, is this company or station, whatever you want, a media outlet called the National Insider. And they run a weekly, I'm going to say television show, maybe it's a weekly production that gets released on the link. And they are willing to sit with you for a 30 to 45 minute session covering your topic of, I'm assuming, Flex versus the Empire of Mankind and the corruption therein, or some other related topic. They're willing to sit with you later this evening if you are willing and interested.
I tell them I have a meeting at 3. I'm not sure I'll be planet side after that meeting. So it would probably need to be before then if we're going to guarantee that it's going to happen. But it is newsworthy.
Unfortunately, the earliest time they can give you is like 7 o'clock this evening. Give me a second to figure out how I want to phrase this here. Because your character definitely would not know for sure. But I, the GM, can tell you, the player, unless you make certain decisions, you are going to be available at that time.
I mean, at this point, that's pretty much the only option I have, is to say, well, we'll just have to see how it works out.
Yeah.
I said, if it doesn't work out that we can have a sit down face to face, then we'll try to figure out some way to do it through correspondence.
And of course they come back with, well, if you happen to be en route to somewhere else, I'm sure we could try to set up some sort of tight beam communication, at least until you make it to Stutter War.
Right. And is this a reputable news firm, or is this like a tabloid news firm?
That's a great question, isn't it? I'll tell you what.
Because it matters to me to a certain degree.
No, I hear you, and it does make sense because this is something that you would want to know before you agree to do anything with them, right?
Right.
I'm gonna roll a 1d6. The closer I am to a 6, the more reputable they are. How about that?
Yeah. Alrighty.
Let's see what we get. They are questionable, but some of the material they release is questionable in the way that not so much accuracy of information, but maybe there. You know what? National Insider is effectively about as good as far as reputable business operations as TMZ.
As any other mass media source is.
No, because I would picture something like obviously the 3 big American networks, and then like BBC. I would put them at like tier 1, or if I'd roll to 6, for instance. This would be in the realm of TMZ, where the information probably accurate, but a lot of it is kind of skewed through the idea of this is what I saw happen. Maybe this is what's going on. Not necessarily 100% factual. Does that make sense?
Yep. So to cut this short, really.
Not to knock TMZ for the record.
Right. I will, let them know I'll be in touch. I'm going to spend the rest of the time that I have today packing my stuff up and doing my best to try to get a hold of somebody at one of the more reputable news firms.
Okay. So keep that in the back of your mind. I would like to move to the next scene unless somebody has anything else. I'm going to go with silence is consent. Please interrupt if you feel the need. Otherwise, later that afternoon, and also for the record, when Blaine comes back with the 2 knuckleheads, they are definitely looking cleaned up. They have cleaner clothes on. They're both wearing jeans, but these are like, they're right off the shelf effectively, so they have that still kind of clean pressed look, and they don't almost look like jeans until you like, motherfuckers wearing jeans. You know what I mean? They have button-up shirts. Aiello's got his rolled up to the elbow. What's his face? Spearman has just got his, he didn't button up the cuff, but it doesn't flap a lot, so it's no big deal. Blaine herself is looking fairly presentable in, just a simple, I want to say jumpsuit, but it's, I don't know. I can't think of the right word.
Yeah, I mean, she knew how to dress. She knew how to be, non-professional, at least not stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. Like she's not like dressed dumbly. I think that's horrible use of language. But she may not necessarily be wearing the most professional attire either. And then Gray, of course, has a respectable pair of pants and not a button-up shirt, but like a pullover kind of thing. Uh, the meeting will take place at Le Charpe de la Rue. I really hope I said that close enough that most French people won't hate me on sight. This is a French eatery near the spaceport, but located in a more well-to-do section of Aliceport. The menu consists mostly of warm sandwiches, roast beef, locally sourced, chicken, tuna, or chicken melts. Oh, wow, I really did that, didn't I? Chicken, tuna, or... Oh, never mind. Chicken, tuna, or chicken melts, French dips, and others, as well as a variety of salads, all sourced from local farms, local meaning somewhere on the planet. When you guys arrive, the host will, once you mention names and all that stuff, the host will seat you in a private room towards the back. When you come in, Tankerson is already seated at the far end of the table, at the head of a table. So picture something like, in Empire Strikes Back when Han Solo and Princess Leia and Chewbacca, they are all brought in before Darth Vader. And Vader's already at the other end of the table from the door. And he's like, we'd be honored if you join us. And then blaster bolts and bedlam. Tankerson is kind of like in that Darth Vader position. Tankerson is a large man. He's probably pushing like 6'6", and I don't know what would be large for a guy that tall, but let's just say 300 easily. Obviously, Traveler uses metric, but you get the idea. This is the kind of a dude that did a lot of weight training in his youth, but at some point stopped working out and continued eating at about the same. So it's more pudgy than it is solid, but he's very clearly was a big dude at one point in time. His suit appears to be about a half size larger than needed, but otherwise his appearance is pretty professional. He's got some graying, dark hair kept moderately short and neat, and while it definitely looks like he shaved this morning, it's noticeable that he's already got a little bit of stubble coming in once anybody gets close enough for a handshake. Paul Gray will introduce himself first and be like, "Hey, I'm Paul Gray. I'm the one that talked to you, etc., etc., etc." He was the one that obviously set up the meeting and whatnot. But other than that, Tankerson will invite you guys to have a seat. All of you, that is, everybody. However many people there's room for everyone at the table. Please have a seat, and then he kind of waits for you guys to get situated, and then Gray will basically tell you the things that I'm about to tell you, except I'm going to tell you out of character, so you guys know what I'm talking about here. So Iron Mike Tankerson, first and foremost, has an extensive history up and down the French arm, and to some extent the American and Chinese arms, as a merchantman. He also was a former collegiate football athlete at the University of New Chicago on Earth somewhere. I don't know. I actually have it in my notes, University of New Chicago. But regardless. He's also had time as a journalist. And a few years ago, he was the one that broke, and I'll let you, the players, decide if your characters know anything about this or not. Tankerson was the one that broke the news story involving. Did I actually put that in these notes, or is that in my handwritten thing? Give me just a moment. Let me review my notes here. Hang on. I guess I didn't actually put it in my typed up notes. So and I didn't bring that notebook over here. So anyway, there was if you guys remember back in like I want to say it was the 80s, the Iran-Contra affair. I know Charles is old enough to know a little bit about it. Thurgood probably. A similar arrangement was going on involving some, we'll say, freedom fighters on a planet in the Chinese arm. The name of that planet I don't recall specifically because, like I said, I wrote my notes and then I started typing it up and expanding. So I didn't quite transfer all my handwritten notes. But the long and short of it is there was a diamond ring and there was some money and or weapons and things of that nature being transferred back and forth. out in the Chinese arm that Tankerson actually kind of stumbled his way into. And in the process of investigating what initially was the thieving of a diamond, he found this whole thing, broke it. There was a big court case. There was a lot of, well, I can't reveal that information. It's a confidential source. There was a lot of threatening about Tankerson going to jail. Somewhere along the way, some hush money, not hush money, a settlement was made. And Tankerson was basically allowed to, he was allowed to go free and whatever. But it also, even though he, on one hand, received various accolades and awards or whatever for what he was doing in journalism and this particular case, he also kind of left all of that behind because he got tired of being he didn't want to be in the spotlight anymore, and he wanted to focus on his actual, what he wanted to do for the rest of his life, which is his people make a variety of memorabilia and souvenirs, and then they are transported from Beowulf to either Kilimanjaro or Ogoro, depending on where they go next. In most cases, he supplies something like 50% of the things sold in gift shops across the French and American arms, with the possibility of expanding into the Chinese arm in the future. Basically, he runs, I don't know what company in the real world makes all the stuff that's sold in gift shops. There's probably a number of them. But this dude produces quite a bit of it and ships out quite a bit. Now, he is, in the grand scheme of things, not necessarily a major power player. Like, he's not like on the level like Walmart or Amazon, but he's in the neighborhood of like, he's doing really well for himself. And then once Gray explains all this, and there's some notes that Tankerson will actually push to you guys to clarify where, maybe Gray got, one thing wrong, and Tankerson's like, no, actually what had happened was this. There's a little conversation between the two of them, and the rest of the information goes on to you guys. And then finally Tankerson's like, you know what? That's enough talking for now. I imagine you guys are hungry, or maybe you're just thirsty. I'm thirsty after all of that. Let's get some food and drinks in here. And he's leaving it to you guys. He's leaving it to you guys to order whatever you want. Also, he is expecting you guys to kind of, in character, present yourselves to him. So basically, what ultimately what he's looking for is, tell him a little bit about yourselves, and then the waiter is coming around taking your orders. Look at how I direct this.
Does this feel like a business situation where they're expecting us to drink, or just would you just like?
That's a fair question. The tone that you're probably getting is that this is somewhat relaxed, but this is also, you get the feeling that Tankerson is watching you guys rather closely, as if he's wanting to determine if he wants to hire you on for some stuff that he's trying to get accomplished, or if he wants to dismiss you guys after this meeting.
Also, who's paying the bill?
Tankerson will be like, I have this one. I can write this bitch off all day long. I have an accountant in my pocket. Did you just say, let me see the wine list?
Yeah, I'm not paying for it.
He gives you the first page. The page that doesn't have all of the good stuff on it.
I like a glass of scotch that's about half as old as I am.
Yeah, right? Go ahead, Charles. I think you were about to say something.
I'm gonna look at him and just say I'm gonna want the French dip, and I'm gonna take whatever the soda pop is, and just mention who I am. Hang on. And then mention real quick my background as a former police officer and law and security specialist for such and such company.
Okay.
And I mentioned that I heard of his breaking stories. That was something mentioned when I went through school for a security agent. That whole
as a point of clarity, because I don't think those two timelines are going to line up quite right. So he spent the last year focusing more on his side business that he had started years prior. And then for the 8 years prior to that was when he was a journalist. And so this story would have broke probably about 2 to 3 years ago. So I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
I don't know if that would line up with when Fritz was in, I don't
Uh,
know,
no,
Interpol
no,
school.
yeah, no. So I mean, it may have been just one of those. I read about it across the
Yeah,
news
yeah,
feeds,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and then I mentioned that we saw plenty of your goods come through Indruk Station, and they're pretty top quality. I may or may not have, and I mentioned somebody off of some local racing league. Their a car with their signature on it. Blah blah blah. Really
Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah,
And
football
then
cards, but instead of football, it's I don't know, hover bike racing. Not hover bike because I don't
yeah,
think that's really out in 2300, but you know,
yeah.
something like
Yeah,
that.
something along those lines. Anyhow, long story short, just mention that, and then I'm gonna say, I'll wait for everyone else, but I'm, that's who I am, and then just sit down and just kind of start looking everyone else over.
I think somewhere near the end of your spiel, I think Tankerson will come up. He'll actually stand up and come over to your part of the table, and he'll want to actually shake your hand and be like, "Thank you for, well, first, your kind words about when that case broke and the articles and et cetera, but also thank you for the recognition and taking the time to say something about it. It's a pleasure to meet you, Fritz." And then
Yep.
he'll wander back over to his spot, and he won't actually sit down right away because now he's looking at Milligan. He's looking at Milligan, waiting for Milligan to make his order and introduce himself.
So I'm just going to get a burger and some water that hasn't been reprocessed 500 times.
You want water straight from the river. You want that good river water. Man, you got to pay a lot of money for that.
Costs
No,
more
he
than
doesn't. We're
wine.
not paying the bill.
Fair point, my friend. Touche. Okay, yeah, burger, some water.
Yeah. So, I approach him and, you know, dutifully greet him in a respectful manner. And I say, I can't quite get over this one point that's been made here around the table tonight. And that's that you used to be a journalist.
Yeah. And he'll stick his hand out to shake, and I'll let you
Mhm.
decide whether or not you want to shake it. But he
Oh, yeah.
definitely has that.
At which,
But
I was gonna say, at which if the camera had panned across Fritz's face, he's just gonna kind of semi arch an eyebrow and roll an eye at the same time, and then just go
is that
back
even
to his.
physically possible? I'm detracting here, but sorry.
Yeah, no, no. And without slightly saying anything, he's just gonna judge, and then just go back to eating his sandwich and his soda pop.
There you go. Yeah, no, Tankerson he'll stick his hand out to shake, and he'll kind of look at you and be like, he'll give you that "what do you mean" look, but he won't actually say anything because he's waiting for you to further explain your statement.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, is that something you still have an interest in?
Are you talking about the journalism field?
Yeah.
To be honest, I started that kind of as a hobby, and it took off, and I did really well. I got plenty of awards. They take over like half of a wall in my house, but there's a lot of legwork and, frankly, a lot of limelight that I just don't really care for. And yeah, I did some good. At least I feel like I did some good, but I'm more concerned about my business now.
I said, and that's fully understandable. Uh, we have quite a little story behind us as to how we got to this table tonight.
I have
You
heard
may
a
be
few
asking
things.
yourself how I got in this situation.
It all started with a fucking diamond. Yeah, no, I think Takerson would kind of give you one of those like, "I got you, I know where you're coming from" looks. That
Yeah.
probably suggests that he knows more than what he's actually
Oh, I'm sure he
saying.
does. Yeah.
But he will definitely go with, "I have heard a little bit about that. We can discuss that in more detail shortly." And he kind of does a little tilting of the head in the general direction of wherever the waiter is right now.
Mm.
Um, and that will take us, I think, Wiggles, did you order?
we're at a French restaurant, so we're actually something French. So I'll take a courte majeure. It's a fancy grilled ham sandwich.
Okay, thank you. I was like, my brain was like, do I know those words? I don't know those words. Okay. And then your introduction to Mr. Tankerson?
Hi, my name is George Wyatt, lifelong spacer, born at a Barnard Star. Been in the independent shipping game since I can float around. Um, I can fly, I can talk, I can deal, I can run the engines. Just about can learn anything. Not a lot of formal education, just a lot of experience. My wife, on the other hand, is she actually went to a quite prestigious school on Earth in France for her actual engineering degree.
Ah, impressive. Okay. And he'll shake your hand as well. And I'm assuming Alia is with us as well. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean she's here for this job too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. 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 I think he'll actually, shake her hand and speak a little bit of French, playfully, mind you, trying to see what level of understanding she has of the French language because you mentioned that she had studied at a French university.
Oh God, did I give her French? I don't remember.
I don't know. It's not terribly important. Don't sweat it. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much she does or doesn't know, it's one of those like, oh, you know this word when I say it to you, and like, oh, you don't. Oh, my apologies. You don't understand French. Okay, no worries. I'm not very good at it either.
She has French one, so
Yeah, I think he's got. Oh, that's actually your character sheet I'm looking at. Shit. Where is... Okay, that's Fritz. Where is fucking Tankerson's character sheet? There it is. I didn't put any language skills in, so maybe he doesn't speak French. Maybe he just throws a few words he's heard on the radio at her. And then, yeah, and then, of course,
baguette.
right? Baguette. Mustachio. So, yeah, so then, Gray orders, something relatively simple, just a basic, chicken tuna melt sort of deal. And then introduces himself as, communications, I don't want to say expert, but communications technician. And then when it comes to the three gunfighters, I feel like Aiello or Spearman, one of them actually gets ready to start. And Blaine just kind of puts a hand on either one, on both of them at the same time, right? She's like, and you kind of see her moving her lips a little bit. And if you actually are sitting really close, you'll hear her be like, boys, I got this, shut up. And I don't know if my mic picked that up. So what I said was, boys, I got this, shut up. And she'll stand up, kind of to keep them from talking. And she'll be, I'm Kirsty Blaine, and the redhead is Carl Spearman. This guy is Buford Aiello. We are all former, well, I guess Marines would be the closest or easiest way to explain it. We were the ship's troops on the Wayfinder, and, well, unless you want to put a bullet in something, we've got nothing else to do. Because the three of us actually know how to do that very, very well. We could probably move some cargo around, sweep the deck, real basic stuff. And she actually gets ready to say shit and then, catches herself. To which, of course, Tankerson recognizes that and smirks a little bit. The three of them order their food, and then, she goes through a real quick spiel, not much longer than what I just did, and then she sits back down. And then finally, the waiter has made his rounds. I think Tankerson orders just this big frickin' sandwich, I don't know, BLT with, extra strips of bacon and maybe an extra slice of tomato in there somewhere. And then, as the waiter leaves, Tankerson actually reaches into his pocket and pulls out two items. The first one is a kind of a bulky object. From me to you guys, he's pulled out something that looks kind of like a 12 or 20-sided die. But it's the size of his fist. And he sets it down in the center of the table, and he presses a couple of buttons. The second item that he pulls out is a telescoping wand about the size of, like, imagine the old school boombox radio and then take the antenna off of it. And that's what he's got. And he starts and he passes it to his assistant that I just now realized I never mentioned was actually there. And now I'm having deja vu. He gives it to his assistant, and his assistant will sweep the antenna, like, around the table, over each of you in turn, kind of do a little sweeping pass around the corners of the room and stuff like that. And once he is, well, let me just ask this, out of character, is anybody bugged that they know about?
No.
Okay,
I did not.
is anybody transmitting anything on a radio frequency?
No.
No.
Well, me and Gray may have with our computers.
I think
They
anything
have,
more than your,
Wi-Fi.
like, subdermacomps and anything like link access would register as normal. Because I feel like, at least on Beowulf, I think anything like a subdermacomp type deal would be not uncommon. Like, it wouldn't be necessarily fully integrated, everybody's got one, but I feel like there would be enough of them that, like, his assistant might look at you and be like, subdermacomp, huh? And you'd be like, yeah. And maybe you'll lift, like, a flap of your shirt or something like that to show where it's implanted.
Yep.
And I would let them know if he made any comment to me, that I have no networking with mine. It is secure.
Right. Okay. All right. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, nobody's actually bugged. You guys might have your own capacity to record, but that doesn't mean that Tankerson's not recording anything either. And at this point, Tankerson will then reach back over to his little fist-sized 20-sided die device and push another button, and then he will launch into a little bit more about himself. Excuse me. Some of it is kind of repetitive, or not repetitive. Repeated of what he had said earlier. But the big thing that he adds at this point is this. Most cases, I supply something like half of the things that are sold in gift shops across the French and American arms. Basically, everything leaves here and goes to one of a couple different hubs, and then from there it gets dispersed outward by various subcontracted or third-party transport. My people make a significant portion of the gift items that you can find, and by significant, he's talking something like 10 or 15%, which is probably a big number, but not clearly, he's not a dude rolling with a whole fuck ton of cash or anything. What he wants to do is to be able to expand in the Chinese arm, but that's going to require, obviously, a lot more income or other easily liquidatable, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm trying to say. Liquidity. Yeah, why not? Additionally, something kind of on the side, and something really kind of low level, low key, not really broadcasting it to everywhere. He has established a network of contacts throughout human space, and from time to time may have need of some quiet problem solvers. Not necessarily, we'll say, professional problem solvers, i.e., wetworks and professional hitmen type deal, but like people that can go out and solve problems. Easily liquidated. Thank you, Stormbender. That's really what I was looking for. And no, he's not looking for a side chick. Fucking Wiggles, man. God damn it. Where am I? Right now, and also he calls these people troubleshooters. Or no, I'm sorry. He calls people that fill this position problem solvers, as opposed to troubleshooters or other terms, because some people can easily get those terms confused, and doesn't want his people to be easily identified or thought of as, sniper assassins in the middle of the night sort of deal. Because these truly are the people that he's looking to hire are meant to, like, go and be like, so there's a problem over at this facility and I need you to go address it. That doesn't mean kill people. That means literally go fix that problem, whatever way makes sense. And I want to be clear on this because he's trying to be clear. This is not, there's a problem, that means go put a knife in somebody's throat. No, there's a problem, go talk to somebody and find out what the hell is going on. And turns out the solution is, well, they just need 50 more people that can turn a wrench. Well, there's your answer. What do we need to do to make that happen? I don't know. Go talk to some people in some outlying villages and get them out here. That's the kind of problem solving he's looking for.
So
Go ahead.
So I'm going to interrupt real quick, and I'm going to kind of cock my eye again at this and go. So not and I'm going to air quote legitimate businessmen fixers, but more along the lines of honest to God, figuring out, be able to do things and cut through the bureaucracy, huh?
Yes. And he actually kind of has that, like, exasperated, not exasperated, what's the word I'm looking for? That relieved sigh of, like, thank you, Jesus, because I can't figure out the right word. And whenever I say problem solver in this context, people think it means a silenced pistol in the back of the head. I don't, listen, that's appropriate in certain circumstances, but that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah. No. And I'm gonna mention that. Yeah, I've run across plenty of fixers before. People who all of a sudden manage to just drop on the chief of police pictures of him and his.
Well, maybe not even that much,
extra,
but yes.
Yeah.
If that's the answer to the problem, then yes. Private investigation with a whole lot of other things in their bag of tools to make sure that problems get resolved. Because at the end of the day, I need things to move, and I need things to happen, and I have contacts to preserve.
And legalities, lawyers.
Say what? I think when he gets to that, he's kind of like, don't get caught, and there won't be any questions. If you get caught, your free phone call needs to come to my office.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking this is because I'll mention that again, some background, the working for the Innsbruck police and some criminalities and and I got caught holding the bag when there were some people on my team, on my patrol group, that were looking the other way as pirates, and extra things fell off backs of trucks, or things fell off loading robots, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I thought that was wrong, and I was told to report it, and then lo and behold, I found my career was stopped. And I'm just gonna
Well, the funny thing about that, Fritz, is see something, say something looks really good on a poster. When it comes time for actual things to be said, lots of people don't want to hear it because they're already on the take. I hear you, and I hear where you're coming from. I'm going to be open and honest with you. That's not quite the direction I am going. If I assign a task, I expect the task to be completed to the best of your ability, and if problems come up, questions get asked, and then they get answered. When it comes to legalities, I would prefer that my problem solvers work within the confines of the law, realizing that sometimes going outside for a little bit and then coming back in is more often what has to happen. When the lawyers are needed, I would prefer that they don't, but, I keep a few on retainer for various things. I'm sure I can find someone that can cover whatever the case may be, hypothetically, one day.
Okay. That sounds totally awesome. So let's, I feel like I'm in.
At this point, well, first, I guess he's kind of good, since you brought that up or said more or less that you're in, I think at this point he kind of looks across the table to everybody, spending a few seconds at each one, not staring them down or anything, but just kind of trying to get a read for where everybody's at. This would be what salesmen would call a warm closure. Or, no, that's not the right word. What's the word I'm looking for? Somebody in the sales world, give me an idea what the word is. I can't think of when I was a recruiter. Temperature
don't
check.
help. Let him drown.
It's a temperature check. Go ahead there, Wiggles. I think you were trying to say something.
I said don't help him. Try let him drown.
Don't help him, let him. Well, so Wiggles won't be getting a Christmas card this year.
So Milligan is like leaned forward, intently, following the conversation and everything, making a mental note, well, don't mention Betty. That's my sniper rifle. Uh,
Mental note. Don't mention my
and
sniping ability.
but he still has yet to tell us exactly what he wants us to do, right?
Correct. He's been
Right.
more about describe. So basically, what he's been doing is describing the position that he needs filled. He hasn't
Right.
really said what you or your team will specifically be doing, and he has also not given a specific or an example of the specific task.
So I say, it sounds like it's right up our alley, but we haven't really talked about the alley yet.
Correct. Needed to see where you guys were, and he looks over towards Wyatt, who's the other of the three bigwigs, to see where he's leaning. Don't say doing your wife. Don't say doing your wife.
Heavily
Doing
onto the
your
table because of the gravity.
sniper. Right? He's leaning heavily on the table. Wyatt, Mr. Wyatt, where are you sitting on this idea, sir? That's me saying that, by the way, not Tankerson.
As a player, it seems fine. As a character, it's like I don't know. I mean, if we're being transparent, I don't murder people. That's just not a thing I do. So that's not never gonna happen.
I think when Wyatt says murder, Tankerson will quickly look over to Milligan and then look back to Wyatt.
What? So that
Not
word's
really.
gone
I
around.
mean, I can.
I just put up
talk,
one finger. That's all I put up.
He
I
listen.
can talk.
Go ahead.
That's right. I can talk. I can fix stuff. I can sell things. Well, that's what kind of problems you need us to do. That's the kind of problems I'm pretty sure we can do.
Okay. I think at this point, like, for a moment, he'll stop talking because, obviously, well, let's just assume the food has been brought in and you guys are eating and talking between mouthfuls and whatever else. At this point, he's kind of looking around the table and he's got that pensive look on his face, like he's trying to figure out either what he wants to say or how best to say it. And this is what he'll say. He says, well, I think what we need to do is determine the truth of your capabilities. Not that I doubt you, but maybe I want to see it firsthand. And I don't even know if firsthand's really the right answer. And he's addressing, obviously, everybody. Because the way I see it, I think I could take you guys on, at least for the time being, as temporary or prospective problem solvers. But I don't know if I can trust you yet. And I hope you understand where I'm coming from when I say that.
Trust takes time.
Yeah, exactly. And not just trust in the faithful sense, but trust in your capabilities. Are you what I really need? What I'm looking for?
Well, I would say the last major thing I did in my career, pray with this one, is I prevented a spaceship from crashing into a planet.
I heard. I'll be honest.
By myself personally, I was in the command role, directing and helping people to make sure that didn't happen. Just,
No, I've actually read portions of that report. Fun fact, I have a contact that works at Flex. And he looks over at Paul Gray when he says that. Not him. I do know that you were removed for the possibility, but unverified charges, the possibility of, but unverified collusion, terrorism, and some other notes. Hold on. But also notes that on any official record, that's single line is the only black mark. Basically, Jesus Christ, hang on. My contact has indicated that you guys were all removed from service for possible but unverified collusion and terrorism, but also notes that in any other official record, That single line is the only black mark on y'all's files. Hopefully that got translated better.
We didn't do any of that. I mean, like, you can't prove a negative, so it's not like I can't show I didn't do any of that, right?
Exactly.
But I will say that if I did do that, that doesn't actually hurt us for this position, because somehow we managed to infiltrate a private paramilitary organization at high levels, work there for 6 months before we were caught doing what the hell we were doing. So even that is true, that I think works in our favor. It's not true though, but I can't demonstrate that. But if it was true, I'm really awesome.
I like the way you're making your argument, Mr. Wyatt, and that to me shows a certain level of intelligence and capability that shows I'm probably going to want you on my team. And I think at this point he'll like reach down to the side of his chair, like he's got a briefcase sitting on the floor next to him, for instance, and he pulls up out of this briefcase a almost legitimately a manila folder, but I feel like it's probably more like a kind of like a folder, but inside is a data chip. And he tosses the chip towards the center of the table, generally towards Wyatt, but anybody else at the table can grab it. Your first task, in fact, is I need you to go to the Barrier Aerospace hangar out on the starport and talk to the people running the show over there. They've got 2 LC-10s, and these are like drop pod lander type deals that can carry a handful of people. And talk to them and tell them I'm gonna make them an offer of 750,000 Libra for both. And I need you guys to go and make this transaction take place. That those 2 landers end up in my possession. And if you do that,
I want to put my hand up real quick and just say, hey, that sounds awesome. However, we are unhoused at this moment. And I wave my hand around the whole room. Although we took a room at a hotel and I mentioned whatever it is.
Are you all together in the same hotel?
Well, except for the XO and his wife, who, due to his particular condition, he's.
I think when you say condition, Tankerson kind of cuts. He's like, "Yes, the low gravity condition that afflicts half of the human population." Okay.
Yes. Yeah, he's hanging out up in upper whatever it is space that evil.
I'm sorry. Thing. Please continue. You said evil, and I started thinking back to your PTSD. Please continue.
Yes. Well, that's exactly what.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyhow, base of operations, just to kind of, because it is great to hang out here, but I don't like to spend money on a home unless I have guarantees I'm going to stay there, and I kind of left home because I needed to adventure some. So.
What have a place.
In that end?
I'll tell you what. This is what I would do. While you guys, I'll tell you what. Tonight, he pulls out his little. I'm gonna say pad. It's not a pad in Traveler. Pad is fucking Star Trek. But he pulls out some little hand tablet sort of deal and starts taking notes. And he says, tonight, you guys will be able to stay at whatever your current accommodations are. Just give them my contact information. And as soon as he says information, all of you get a ping on your individual links with his contact info. So basically, all you'll have to do is go to the front desk and be like, I need you to keep me in that room tonight and bill it to this guy. And that's pretty much the instructions he sends along with his contact information. Almost as a validation or credential to go with it. To give to the hotel.
Right.
While tomorrow, go out to the hangar on the starport. And while you are doing that, I will get you guys set up with. You see him, he actually kind of struggles with these words because he knows that from a salesman standpoint, these are not very good words to use. It used to be a halfway house, but it's being renovated as something a little bit more for transient folk that are kind of stuck here for more than just a few days. People passing through Beowulf on their way out to other places in the French Arm. People on contract. So like what he's explaining is that this is a I'm trying to think. There's a word for this, but I can't think of it. Think of something kind of like
A
short.
hostel.
Yeah, like a hostel. It's like basically it would be a hotel, but you're gonna be there. People that stay here would be here for like a few weeks because they're waiting for a connection that is going to take them further out into the French
Oh,
Army.
like
Because
it's basically transient quarters.
yes, and it's not something so it's easy to like. It's not like going to be a 24-hour layover. Like you might literally be here for 2 weeks because that's how long it's going to take your connection to show up. But you're just not some random traveler. You are actually on contract, for lack of a better word to call it, a military orders or corporate orders, perhaps, for this travel. So this is like official travel. That's why did I take so long to come up with those words? These are people under official travel as opposed to just regular travel. And so what he's saying is like this used to be one of those transient centers that he is going to go. Well, actually, it is a transit center, and he's going to try to set up like a 2 to 3 week or possibly a month or longer contract for you guys all to stay there with your own personal rooms. Does that make sense
Right.
to everybody?
Oh yeah, no, totally. I mean, and I can see it from having to travel. Like some airlines, some shipping companies will own like a hotel, and due to crew rest or due to whatever reason, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna put you up in this place
Yep.
due to this, and while the ship gets overhauled or we refuel and transfer a bunch of cargo, you can't stay on the ship, safety reasons, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and
So
usually,
yeah, I can
like,
totally.
and I've never done something like that, but I imagine here on Earth in our modern era, people in these transient locations are probably there for maybe a week or so. I'm thinking a little bit more long term, just because of the fact that you're here on Earth, you need a ride out to not just Alpha Centauri, but like I don't know, Polaris or something. But it's gonna take a few more weeks before your ride even gets close, let alone here. Um, that's my thinking, anyways. Um, on top of that, Tankerson will resume his little sales pitch or what have you. I will pay you each 3,000 Libra if you can make this deal go in my favor of acquiring those two LC10s and getting them in my name. What questions do you have for me? Also, he definitely, just for the record, he definitely hit you with a hard close. He's not saying shit until somebody else says something.
I say,
I'm
when
looking
are they
over.
open?
Go ahead.
I say, when are they open?
Well, like
And
most
I'm gonna
places.
look at the XO and just go karaoke.
I was waiting for that word. I even almost said it earlier, but I couldn't figure out a way for Tankerson to be able to say it in character, other than let's go do some karaoke. XL, I think the ball's in your court.
Wyatt will shrug to that, and they'll turn towards Tankerson. So have you made the offer for $750,000 yet? Have you given that offer to them?
He points to the chip on the table, or the data. We'll say thumb drive, geek stick, whatever. Everything you need is on that stick. I have not made the offer. That will be your task.
Is $750,000 your top dollar?
1 million is my top.
1 mil. Okay. Do you know if these people are doing okay financially? They're doing shit
They are
financially?
not. They are actually about to declare bankruptcy. That's why I'm sending you, so I can get the first offer in on those two landers.
Okay.
And these are LC10s. Those are the old ones, right?
Yeah, you'll find the LC10s if you're looking for them. They're in the first edition of Mongoose Traveler, 2300.
Yeah. But I mean, for that kind of price, you can't beat that. So
I mean, for any ship that can go anywhere off the planet, 750,000 for two, that's a fucking steal. And if you're struggling for cash, you might probably just take that.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just gonna get foreclosed on anyway. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Which is also why
take them over.
No, and no, I haven't. That again, as I mentioned previously, problem solvers. Part of that problem solving is identifying the problems and when they come up, keeping me up to date. For instance, if you go out there and you find out all of the hosing for technical information regarding rocket engines that I know nothing about, that's me, the GM, saying that because I can't make up some techno babble on the spot like that. For instance, if you go out there and all of the atmosphere, all the environmental controls are just fried, then I need you to let me know that so that we can figure out how to fix that, i.e., you can figure out how to get that fixed and bill me for it, and that will take that bill out of the 750,000 that I'm offering. Or he fixes it after the transaction, but he's not going to pay $750,000 for some busted up ships. He's going to drop the price down significantly.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Transportation 2 in there.
Local travel hub or transit hub, subways, taxis, etc. The starport. So
it's all
just for clarity, like you're in the city near the starport, or the city that surrounds or adjacent to the starport. So getting around town is not terribly hard. Public transit and whatnot.
Do we have a life support tech? Does the steward? He has skill in life support, right?
You know, I still have yet to draft up the characters or the NPCs character sheets or even a quick little spreadsheet. So
Lazy.
Sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. Lazy. Lazy.
I'm game. Like I said, I'm
Yeah.
game. Anything to get me some action. And if it leads to more, and maybe being able to keep going even through that evil medium of space, then let's do this.
Yep.
I love Wiggles. That's like the fourth established lore comment tonight. Okay. Let me think for a second. So Tankerson will point out a couple things. One, any official documentation that you might need as far as validating this offer will be on the Geek Stick, as well as, I mean, at this point, credits or Libra is almost effectively transferred as data. So there's like a separate secure part of this Geek Stick specifically for the money. And there is, if anybody wanted to take the time to look, there is actually 1 million Libra in there, which can only be released on very specific conditions or situations, i.e., Barrier Aerospace agrees to this purchase, and then obviously Tankerson or a duly authorized representative will have to verify and release that the credits there.
More like escrow money.
Yeah, effectively. Yeah, I mean, I don't know all the banking terms, but basically, you guys, the characters, can't just take this cred stick and run off with the money. Like it will not be released without some very specific conditions being met. And then Tankerson will, and I feel like at this point, like there's a couple of waiters that come in to start bussing the table as you guys are finishing your last drink or whatever. And I think Tankerson will point out, and he'll say, "Hey, I appreciate everybody's time. It is, it's going on 6 or 7 o'clock, however long you guys want to pretend you've been there. Do keep in mind that when you step outside, it will look as though it's still 10 a.m. It will be like that for another day or two. I recommend you go and, maybe go sit down and talk about what kind of strategy you want to present to the people of Barrier Aerospace. Maybe get a lay for land or grab some equipment if you feel like you need some kind of equipment. I don't know what you would need. Whatever you got to do. I don't recommend going over there tonight because by the time you get there, the place is going to be locked up and they're going to probably go home. I would recommend maybe showing up around 9 a.m., which is the usual time most businesses open up. Of course, again, the sun is going to be up for a very long time, several days minimum. But other than that, I will pose to the group this question. It is currently 9:30 for me, with about 30 minutes left in our play session. Do we want to wrap a little bit early? Because I don't think we can get through the next scene or two without going over.
No, probably not. And we probably won't remember what we did.
Yeah, yeah. Wiggles and, Thurgor and Charles, you guys cool with a slightly early wrap?
I guess so.
Wow.
I could play for hours.
I hear you. I mean, I could too,
No,
but I know
I'm good. I got it.
Good.
I got an early day tomorrow, so
This actually works
I
out
say
for you.
let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, bet. Well, on that note, let's go ahead and we'll start with, we'll go in reverse order this time. Thurgor, thoughts for tonight? And any other comments you might want to have for the viewers abroad? No, not abroad. You know what I meant. Viewers out there.
I mean, we're moving forward. That's a lot better than we have been all sequestered and everything. So,
Well, even the sequestration, I can't believe I actually said that right on the first try. Even with all that, like, there was still forward movement. It just had to tell
Hell
a
yeah.
story.
Right.
It was a
No,
little slow, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not dissing anything. So,
Okay.
no, but I mean, entering into a new thing, it's done with some amount of trepidation and baby steps. So that's where we are right now, and that's to be expected.
Yeah.
And I think from the remaining crew that we have here, we're pretty well equipped skill wise to check these two landers out, and get a pretty good idea of their working order. And then we've got some smooth talkers to work on the money part of that. That is not me.
That is not me. I just want to be perfectly clear. We have them. It is not me.
That's right.
All right.
So,
Anything else?
no, that's pretty much it.
Wiggles, thoughts for tonight, and anything you want to throw out there to the viewers live or on YouTube later.
We're probably gonna be stealing those ships.
Stealing the shit.
Dude walks in with 1 million credits in his pocket. He's like, nah, we're not going to make the offer. We're just going to take them. Fuck you.
Can't get mad, left you money.
You're going to take them and leave the thumbstick that they can't actually get into?
Whatever, not my problem.
Not my problem. I got 2 landers. Boss is going to pay me $3,000. Problem solved. Literally what he was asking for. Nice. Anything else, Wiggles?
No.
All right.
I'm out. I'm empty.
All right. Omar needs a week to work on his Eastern European used spaceship sales. Bro, I need more than a week. The thing is, I can hit a couple of different accents. I just can't be consistent with them. I can pull off a Palpatine accent or a Coruscant accent and sound amazing for about 45 seconds. After that, it's gone. For like another few, it's like it's got a cooldown of like 3 days. It's just gone. Same thing with actual real accents from Earth. Some of them, anyway. And then lastly, Charles, what do you got for tonight? And what kind of message do you want to leave for the people at home and wherever?
I think this was great. I think the only thing we didn't kind of close on, and as I was thinking about this, I was maybe letting Milligan have his moment in front of the reporters, but maybe we can pick that up when we start.
I will.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Just because he's been jonesing for it so bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was pretty much like he's been striking that note 4, 5, 6 times. I want to send a message about this. I'm going to send a message about spilling the tea about this. I want to talk to the journalists. I want to meet with people. I want to climb to the mountain and let the people know Flex is fucked. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Right. Yeah, so anyhow, I thought tonight was awesome. I think the little interaction at breakfast time, especially with Blaine and her 2 knuckleheads, Aiello and Spielman.
I see how you just
awesome.
passed them off on the babysitter. Way to go, Mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not even thinking of her as the babysitter as much as like the big sister. I'm just like you need to get your siblings square.
Your brother's under control.
Yeah, basically, you need to whip them into shape, and I'm not gonna say anything if they come crying to me.
Yeah.
Flip side of that, I also enjoy the interaction between Milligan just going, "No, do whatever you want to do. It's okay." And I'm just like, "Oh God."
Bigger. Get the biggest thing.
But no, I think the roll into this, and I mean, when we ended last season of like, okay, hey, what's our next step? I think that this is the opening of that, so we'll see where this all goes. So, and it'll be fun. Um, my only thing is closing out for everyone else is just drink more water.
Indeed. All right. Well, thank you guys. That was a good session. We didn't get through everything I wanted to. I think I had 2 more scenes planned for tonight, but you know, I'm gonna call it. It was a late start, but mostly because I wanted to run my mouth before we even got started. So, and not even really run my mouth. It was just we were just hanging out pre-show like we usually do, catching up on a little bit here and there. And I think we spent a lot of time talking about Starfield, which, by the way, it's a great game. If I haven't mentioned that already. Yeah. So,
Shameless plug.
right. To my viewers, thanks everybody for stopping by and hanging out. Even if you just hung out in the shadows, or if you just, even if you were just here for a little bit or whatever. Join us again Monday the 11th. We should be doing Solasta multiplayer. Next Wednesday the 13th should be more of Second Star. We will start with the quasi press conference with National Insider, perhaps. And then we'll move on with the rest of the stuff I had originally planned, and maybe a little bit more after that, as we explore new job opportunities outside of Flex. Keep in mind, week 3 of the Greyland Trios League is going to be starting up. Invasion is now TBA. Why do you tell me this now? Damn you! I'm just kidding. I'm actually glad somebody said something, because I don't check the Traveler release schedule very often. And damn it! Whatever. I'll make up my own shit. That's what I always do anyways. Where was I? Week 3 for the Greyland Trios League will be starting very soon. I'll be posting some stuff for my viewers, or excuse me, my players for that. So pretty soon the matches will start to get scheduled, and we'll start getting those posted on YouTube. So keep an eye out. And again, shameless plug for my Discord server. That is truly the best way to find out anything about whatever's going on with the Krieg Dominion, my streaming, my videos on YouTube, etc., is to get on the Discord. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, look in the description. There should be a link to my Discord server. If not, go to my Twitch page. It will be there. It's too easy to find me on Discord. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, whatever, all those other things that YouTubers say. I'm done. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm not done. I'm done with all that. The biggest thing I want is people on my Discord, because that way they know what's going on. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I'm gonna get out of here. Stay safe out there, my friends. This world is a crazy and dark place. Do what you got to do to take care of you and yours. As for me and mine, we're out of here. We'll see you again next week. Peace, my friends.